The Louis Diaz podcast.
Ooh, that's when you know it's on.
Yeah, well. Welcome to the Louis Diaz podcast, Kirk. Thank you for bearing with me this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have you here, man. Kirk Pearson, everyone. Kirk Pearson is the host and producer of the Coffee Show with Kirk Pearson,
The Coffee Show with Kirk Pearson.
and you own a cafe, right?
I do, yeah.
Project Zero.
Project Zero.
Just the one cafe?
There's a second one coming.
Oh, right.
But how we know this is, of course, because you come almost every day. You're there.
I'll work right next to your cafe.
So I'm your coffee guy.
Pretty much.
Actually, you would know as well. Like, we've got like 4 different blends you can choose from on any given day. One that, the home blend, one that tastes like a strawberry cheesecake, and it literally does.
I never tried that one.
Yeah, well, you got to.
Well, I just order a coffee.
Yeah. But, as well, like, you don't want anyone lecturing you. This is one of the things I hate about coffee shops, like people, like baristas lecturing other people. Yeah. Actually, that's what I hate about the world.
Funny.
That's what I hate about the world.
True.
Everyone's just so eager to give everyone a fucking lecture.
When you're a specialist at something and you're arrogant and you're like, oh, you can't just come into my coffee shop and order a coffee. You have to choose the beans. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, people should be able to opt into that. It's not like, I'll ask you, because with the reality with those service-based things is like people want convenience. So it's like if you ask 20 questions before someone can actually pay for a coffee, not a really good proposition.
It's not a great customer experience.
Anyway, so I've just gotten I'm really obsessed with it. There's a lot of science in coffee that people wouldn't be aware of, and mathematics. So like we weigh everything that goes in, weigh everything that comes out, to the point where like we assess the water chemistry.
I had no idea, bro.
But that's what the good cafes do. And not many people would really realize that. But like,
that's crazy. That's it's such a world. And now it makes sense that it's so niche and it's so intricately detailed. The level of intricacy that has now evolved in gaming, like you can no longer just be born and pick up a gaming system and learn iteratively. Like I had the opportunity to, which was like, Pong left and right. Okay, cool. Now take me on the next journey. You're now born into this kind of world where you've got to learn. Your learning curve is way steeper. Like you've got to figure out how to do all of the things to play a game today. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Well, like
similar to coffee, I imagine.
Yes. But there's like, actually you're right. You're exactly right. Because the technology we use in coffee is different to like what it was 10 years ago. Like this is what I really appreciate about the kids these days. Like I think Gen Z gets a bit of a bad rap in the media.
I think so too.
And they're born into this world where like technology is just so abundant. Yeah. But they can just operate everything with such ease. Like,
but they can go from zero to master straight away because they have the opportunity to if they invest the time and the infrastructure's in place for them to. So if I walked into your cafe as a Gen Z today, you would teach me all of this stuff that because you didn't have the technology for that 10 years ago, the person back then didn't have to learn.
Yeah.
But now, like if I'm a Gen Z and I walk into your cafe and you're teaching me different strains, measuring water, temperatures, this and that, like by the time you're 20 years old, you can be literally like a shit hot barista.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, and that's I think that's already happening. And the thing about because people that are entering pretty much any industry these days, I would say, but let's apply it to coffee. Like they don't have to learn all these other manual processes that they used to.
Yeah, okay.
But they can apply that extra effort to other things.
Yep.
So like, for example, I think you see big time I get it all on my algorithm. It's like there's kids that set up these businesses at like 20 years old and they document the whole thing on Instagram and they're really capable of getting a camera like this and then being able to edit it really quickly and put it on TikTok and shit. Yeah. Like they just do that.
Yeah.
And so, and I actually think like, have they ever, like, are the kids today being born in a house they can really enjoy? Like, I've got a friend who's got a kid, right? And they live in a 1-bedroom apartment here in Melbourne.
Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up on the Central Coast north of Sydney.
Yeah, and so you would have had a yard and everything.
I had a big-ass backyard. Yeah. And, like, got to go out and kick the footy with my friends. Was at the beach all the time. We didn't have mobile phones and stuff at that time. And we didn't have, like, there was, like, PlayStations and stuff like that. But we still loved to get out and go. And some of my friends had a pool. And like, there'd be so many kids these days, and like, they just wouldn't get to grow up like that.
Yeah.
And I'm aware most of the world wouldn't get to grow up like that anyway. It's an absolute privilege that I had.
That's true.
But I just think today, like, the golden ages of life growing up in Australia might be over.
Yeah.
So
But you're right. Like a 20-year-old kid can come and start a podcast about, cocktails.
Oh yeah.
And go viral overnight and be sponsored or whatever, and then be like, their careers can escalate really quickly without having to, I suppose, grind the old ways.
I wouldn't look at the world now and say it's a better place than it was 20 years ago. Even with all this emerging technology and growing economies and stuff like that, we're actually no more prosperous than before. I think there's clearly a very strong argument for the opposite. It's like, it's a less fair world now for people than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But where I'm sort of going with all of this, like, social isolation is probably one of the biggest things that we're not talking about
That's
nowadays.
so true.
Like, this is a guy that was, probably in his early 40s. He's in his early 40s and owning his own house. And he's, in just a few short years, got addicted to drugs, hanging out with a bad crowd, and he's no longer, I'd say, employed, and homeless in the middle of the street. And
man,
I put it all down to him not having, going through that during COVID. Like that started it.
Yeah.
And then you put this within a context of, all right, now people can effectively live most of their lives online. Like you and I have spoken about work from home a lot in the past. And like, while I recognize that's like an extremely convenient option.
Sure is.
And for some people, like,
especially if you got kids.
And you have to take them to
school and stuff.
Yeah, totally. And I got to do it, but I hated it. I really, really hated it. I've never been more depressed in my life than when I was working from home.
Would you call yourself an extrovert?
Yes.
Yeah.
Same. But like,
I'm more extroverted.
And I just think we've given away so much as a society to the internet age, and I don't think we're ever going to get all of that back, which is incredibly sad. Which is like, I think
it's a choice. Yeah,
but like, managing, these dopamine hits that we get online and managing our digital exposure should really be considered in the same light to me as like managing our alcohol consumption or drug consumption, food consumption. Like it's
true.
It's I think it's bad, man. I think it's bad.
Yeah.
And no city more than Australia. No city in Australia has been affected more by all that stuff than Melbourne, I think.
Wow. Yeah, correlated to the lockdowns and the pandemic, and probably generally the weather here as well. So you grew up on the Central Coast, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just say that you and when did you move to Melbourne? Like 10 years ago to come to Deakin?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've spent your whole boyhood growing up in this environment where probably cyclically every year, and it's a much warmer place. You had this consistent routine: summer, mates' pools, beach, public pools, wherever, ice creams, going out, watching Hey Hey It's Saturday or telly with your family. Then, winter, footy or rugby or whatever it is, and cricket and, the outdoorsy stuff that people normally do, board games.
You're nailing this. Yeah. You got it all.
I grew up out in the suburbs here, so, if you grow up in the outer suburbs in Melbourne, you're pretty much growing up like the rest of Australians that aren't in a major city, right?
Yeah.
And then you've come into the big smoke, right? Where, you're not walking past Damo's house anymore. Like it's a whole, the buildings are closed off. Society seems more, there's more crime. You're not just walking past a guy working on his car in his garage anymore, and so the things that you grew up with aren't as accessible to you here, which now has thrown you into this kind of position where you've now got to figure out what your new activities are. And thankfully you found the coffee industry to create a society around or to build a society around. Like, that's a great outcome.
It is. And I'm very lucky with that because, I've got this job where, well, obviously I've got my own business now, but I don't think I've ever once gone to bed thinking to myself, damn, I really don't want to go do that tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
I actually go to bed hitting the pillow and be like, I can't wait to go do that all again tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because, your morning is you get to go in, try different coffees that you really enjoy, that I've sourced. Sometimes there's coffees that I've been to the farms in Bolivia and Brazil. There's people that I connect with online that, or you meet overseas and stuff like that. And, and it's kind of like a project that you see through from start to finish, right?
Yeah.
So almost like having a baby.
Yeah.
Or not really, but let's use the analogy, right? So you raise the kid, kid's successful, whatever. This coffee is just a fucking cherry on a tree. Then it's hulled, processed to get its flavor, roasted, and then you're the final thing. You either drinking it yourself or you're serving it to someone who really gets to enjoy it and you make their day.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good existence.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go back to that then. So before we deviated into societal kind of, what would you call that? We'd call that observations.
Yeah, observation.
Social observations. We started with you working in the cafe as a dishwasher. Then, because of the inconsistency of people not showing up to work, you got an opportunity to make coffee, and that's where you realised you needed to figure out how to up your game.
Yes.
Because after that, you've been weaving all these things in, right? Like Bolivia. What happened next? Like, how did you go from being someone that people literally would turn away from to then being someone that eventually people wanted to order their coffee from? And was it at the same shop, or you?
That's a good question. So I bounced around to a few different places to try and get better, because in coffee, every cafe you can taste it when you go to different places. Everyone kind of makes it differently. And so when I went and worked at new places, learnt from new people, and just really strove to get better. Because a lot of hand skills involved with it, but also you learn the science behind it.
Yep.
Then working at the right place where you're given the right resources to put together a system, basically.
Yep.
And so, for example, the best place I went and worked at, for my development was St. Ali down in South Melbourne.
Yeah.
So that's a very famous place.
Was that with that guy Leon?
Leon Holdsworth, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I heard his name pop up in the episode with Fabian.
So he's got to be the best barista I've ever met.
I heard you guys say that, and that's like a big rap.
And baristas aren't recognized in the way that chefs are. People really know who Gordon Ramsay is. Yeah. People know who George Calombaris is, or Heston Blumenthal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're
Curtis Stone.
They're icons in society, where we've actually got these talented baristas that are of the same ilk.
Yeah.
They're extremely talented. They make extremely good coffee, and our industry is not really recognized like food is.
Yeah.
But I think that'll all change one day.
Yeah.
But Leon is someone that's on that level, and I got to go learn from him. And and competed in barista competitions and things like that, and then to the point where it's pretty fortunate when you're in a job where you get to travel for that job.
Yeah.
So when I worked for St. Ali, they sent me to Bolivia and Brazil, as I just mentioned.
So they sent you there.
Yeah. So
so they were serious. They were serious coffee makers.
At it. Yeah. And luckily, that's my personality type. It's I want it to be better.
Yeah.
I don't think obviously I've worked with a lot of people now, or have worked with other people in the past. For some people, it's just a job, but I took a really interest in it.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky in a way that I didn't find a profession. A profession kind of found me.
Yeah. Nice.
So
nice.
that's a good situation to be in. Very fortunate for that.
For sure.
And I don't ever dread work. I'm in a position now where obviously I work for myself, started my own business, but it's a fucking sick industry. It's a sick feeling to have.
That's so good.
And most of the population don't get to enjoy that, so I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so good to hear. You are lucky, I suppose, in a way. And so how did you find St. Ali? You were looking for a better environment, somewhere you could learn more, and you heard about those guys?
Yeah, well, there was a guy named Matt Perger he came second in the World Barista Championship, but he's always recognized as the most famous barista at the time, and probably still today in the world.
Really?
And, yeah.
You're kidding?
Yeah.
He's from here?
Yeah, but he's one of my really good friends now. You might have even met him.
Maybe, yeah.
But anyway, he comes to the cafe all the time, and he had this blog called Barista Hustle, and so I started reading that, and then I applied because I really wanted to work at St. Ali, to work with people like him. I must have applied like 10 to 20 times, and on different occasions, but just got crickets all the time, and they
Probably too busy to look at CVs.
yeah, that's true. But like, if you wanted to really learn, you needed to go have a good teacher.
Yeah.
And so I knew for me to take that next step, like working at just cafes around the joint, for me to take that next step, I had to go to somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And mind you, they're recognised all around the world. Everyone knows who they are. And so then I got to finally, they gave me a job at like another one of their businesses. And they said, "Oh, there's not an opportunity there yet, but one day it'll come up." But then one day there was this event that they were doing, a collaboration, and they said, "Oh, Kirk, we need someone to go work this event out in Fish Creek," which is like,
I know where Fish Creek is.
Yeah,
It's on the way to Orsa's Prom.
it is, and it's a beautiful
It's
location.
a stunning location.
Anyway, so they needed me to go work out there.
Oh, you're kidding.
And they said, "Oh, we're going to send you with Leon." And of course, I knew who Leon Holdsworth was. And Leon's like this weird bushman barista. Like, he can go out and kill something, butcher it, and then serve it on his plate later on. Like, he's just that kind of guy.
He's like the Joe Rogan of baristas.
He is. And then anyway, so he started asking me. He was like, "Oh yeah, I really want to learn."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, well, I'll get my dad to teach you." And so I connected those two, and then the relationships formed.
Right.
Life's about relationships.
100%.
Having a career, rightly or wrongly, it's not really about whether or not you have the ability to do something. It's whether or not you have the relationship with the person who makes the decision.
100%.
And
that's always been true.
Yeah,
And will always be true.
it will.
No matter whether you're a Gen Z born today or someone born in the 80s like me.
Yeah,
That's the one thing that will remain consistent
relationships.
over time.
Relationships.
Even while all the technology is changing around us, which we spoke about, and everything's weird, and yes, you can't afford a house anymore, but wait, relationships will get you to where you want to go.
Exactly. And then that led to me obviously getting a job with him where I got to learn, and then I took over from him. To get a truly amazing cup of coffee, like, you need to know a little bit.
When you say a cup of coffee, do you mean like an espresso?
Yeah. Let's use an espresso as an example, right? Yep. So you've got a coffee that could be from Ethiopia.
Yep.
And so
you can put that Polaroid down on the chair if you're sick of holding it.
No. But let's say we've got an Ethiopian espresso, right?
Yeah.
Ethiopia is the birthplace of all coffee, so a lot of the coffee that comes from there is the best.
Yeah.
But then what you do as a barista really affects whether it's going to taste really good or not.
Right.
For example, we measure the dosage now, so it's like could be 20 grams of coffee.
Right.
And then we measure the yield, so how much coffee comes out.
Yeah.
And that's like could be 40 grams, let's just say, for example. So 1-to-2 ratio. 1 gram of coffee, 2 grams of water. 20 grams of coffee, 40 grams of water. And then
Right.
So I started playing around with different ratios, started playing around with different grinders. Like the equipment really matters in coffee. So you play around with different grinders where you do things in different combinations, you take notes. And I would do this like for, 1 to 2 hours before my shift started.
Right.
And so then, oftentimes if I did it well, then the coffee would taste really good that way, and people in the building would notice it. So
Nice. So you've just sharpened up your skill set.
Yeah. I moved back to Sydney in 2021 for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I was just so disenchanted by it all. Like I tried to leave the coffee industry because I was so pissed off by it. Like that experience, those 2 consecutive experiences just like really, disheartened me.
Yeah.
And so I tried to, I got a job at a chlorine factory that a friend owned. And so I was packing chlorine into bottles for a living. And
I worked in a chlorine joint once.
Yeah.
We did the filling up the bottles and then the delivery.
Yeah. So
And my pants would come.
Yeah,
like,
you get all
chlorine.
the
holes in everything.
I'm glad we're chlorine bros.
Yeah.
We're chlorine bros, and we're probably like going to live.
I lasted
shorter
3 months in
lives.
that job.
Yeah, but it's a tough gig. Unfortunately, my mum died when all this was going on. But so she had dementia. She got dementia very early, when she was 50 years old. But
Whoa.
I'll tell you more about that in a sec.
Yeah.
But she passed away and left my brothers and sisters and I some money. And with that, I was just like, well, I want to make like a life-changing move here. So I decided to open Project Zero Coffee, which you now frequent on the daily.
Yeah.
And
That's so tough, bro.
it was because the thing about dementia is like, if I'm to compare it with a disease like, I don't know, cancer or something, there's kind of a hope that someone can recover or be cured of cancer.
Really?
Well,
with cancer. Sorry, with cancer.
You can get treated for it.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And all that sort of stuff. And if someone dies from it, then it's like, it's really sad, obviously. But with dementia, like it only ever gets worse. It only ever gets worse. And
it's not getting better.
yeah, and so like in a strange kind of way, like, going through that for 10 years and, instead of visiting your mum or her coming to see you and doing what you're doing, she eventually had to go to a nursing home. And so it's like, visiting her means spoon feeding her goo or like, wiping her ass or something and, helping her go to the bathroom. And,
Bro,
and,
so tough, bro.
and they start swinging at you and stuff like that because they've completely lost their brain.
I don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah. And so it actually becomes a massive relief when they die because like which sounds incredibly callous to say, but like,
it's not callous. It's just honest.
Yeah, it is. But it like the dynamic, it's such a terrible thing. It's obviously hard when like we commonly hear of like grandparents going through it and stuff.
Yeah.
But some people get it earlier and it's just the life lottery and that's the card she was dealt. But it's like all these things, I think, like I'm 31 and, going through those things that I did with like the hardship of, COVID and stuff like that. And then dealing with, mum going through that.
Yeah.
It's like, it does make you stronger.
Yeah.
It can break you.
Yeah.
It can break you easily, but it can make you stronger. And it's like, I think I've got a bit of like mother attitude where like, I try not to let things break me. Like I'm a real mongrel when I really want something, I'll fight for it.
Yeah.
And it's something I didn't really recognize in myself until recently.
Right.
But like, I think I've got the ability to say that now where I'm like kind of proud of it.
To push through things that are challenging.
Yeah. Like, and
yeah,
everyone's got to do
virtue.
it. Well, yeah.
It's resilient.
If you want to achieve anything, there's something that you're going to have to go through, some trial. Like, I don't think anyone really gets an easy, 100% easy life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Some have it tougher than others, sure.
Absolutely.
But like,
we
all have to go through something at some point. It's
Yeah.
just life throws it at you.
Yeah. Actually, and the longer it takes for you to go through things, the easier you have it in life before you finally encounter something, the harder it is for you to deal with.
Exactly.
You see people that they've had pretty good lives, and then suddenly they're like, parents divorce or something when they're in their 30s, and it absolutely cripples them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? But then I'm like, oh, I was born into that.
Yeah.
So I already had to kind of go through that.
Well,
even though I was too young to appreciate that I was going through a challenging thing.
They don't, have a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Or an adequate one anyway. Like some people will self-medicate and stuff like that. But like, some people just, they haven't had to face anything substantial up to a point.
It's like you need challenges in life to develop you as a person. This was one of my favorite parts of your episode with Fabian, by the way.
Yeah. Like
when you spoke about this kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's just like the value of Barista will become so much greater in a world with such abundance because there is we already possess the ability to sit on our phones all day
if we want
and just assess information, interact via that medium. That's already here. And so that's what makes going to a coffee shop so much better. To appreciate the sun, you have to know what rain is. And so without good there is no bad. to experience one, the other has to exist.
Yeah.
And so like,
Yeah.
where I'm going with this, like say for example, 10 years from now, there's just such abundance with so many things, like, and it becomes kind of, maybe say for example, we're on universal basic income then, and it's like a reasonable amount. It's like not just living, but you can go and enjoy some things socially. I just think coffee shops will become busier and busier.
100.
I was in Dubai
100%.
at the start. I was in Dubai at the start of the year.
I couldn't agree more.
I was in Dubai at the start of the year, and if you're born an Emirati, like a citizen of the United Arab Emirates, you get a house at like a certain age, and you get a stipend or whatever, and the minimum salary is like $150,000 if you're born in the United Arab Emirates,
Right.
US.
How's the coffee industry in comparison to those examples? Like, as an industry, what does it have? Because I know you mentioned this before, World Barista Championships, things like that. How are the stories in the coffee industry developing?
Well, this is the thing. I think that coffee is very much in its infancy as an industry. Like, we're actually quite a young industry compared to like wine and things like that. But there are World Barista Championships. I'm going obviously in Milan. That's where I'll be.
Oh, is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
Okay. I like Milan.
And I'm. It's interesting you bring this up, because I rave about it all the time on my podcast, is that we need to tell those stories of the individuals that are there
Yeah.
before the event,
Where they came from.
because that's what makes the event a bit more special.
We'll go back to the podcast then. So you've had a few attempts at the podcast, and now you've settled on the coffee show. How many episodes are you in? Because you didn't have episode numbers. So I was trying to flick through, and then I was like, oh, there's a lot. I'm not going to be able to count all these. How many episodes are you in, and how long has it been since you started that one?
Probably nearly 50, and I started that in March.
Just this year?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so
That's extremely productive.
yeah. Well, so I've been disciplined doing it every week, but obviously I've done more than weekly, because when I went to Jakarta, for example, I was at a trade show and I did 5 interviews a day.
Right.
And so like when I go on these trips, like I make it like I'm very productive with like, I do treat it as work.
Brilliant.
And
Yeah.
I've got an end goal in mind where I'm trying to cement myself as like, one of the premier podcast in coffee.
Yep.
And obviously I've got to do work to be able to get that status.
Yeah.
And so like I do work really hard, and I don't pocket the money I get from sponsorship. I just reinvest it in being able to go travel. I really want to go to Panama and make a documentary next year.
Really?
Yeah.
What for? What's in Panama?
The world's best coffee is in Panama.
Really?
The world's best coffee is in Panama.
As in, like, how much better than the next place?
Oh, well, like
It sounds like it's a lot better.
like a lot of countries grow really amazing coffee, but the best of the best is in Panama. Because it's got this
Imagine that.
quality around it. It's like really floral and delicate, and like you drink it, and it's like, is this coffee? And it's just full of like these yummy fruity flavors.
So that's above the equator. Yeah, that's above the equator.
But it's really high.
Tropical.
Tropical.
Mountainous.
But mountainous, so volcanic soil.
Volcanic soil.
And they also have like high altitude, so it's like 2,000 meters above sea level, and at that altitude the temperature's lower, so like it's better growing conditions for the cherries.
Interesting.
They develop more sugars and stuff like that, and so they've just got this really great combination of like where they're positioned and the genetics of the plants they grow and stuff like that. Anyway, so a coffee this year sold for $30,000 a kilo. Yeah. And so coffee's like now got this luxury element to it. That same coffee, like
Sure.
5 years ago, probably would have gone for like less than $1,000.
So you're right. So when we go back to like my question before about comparing, the coffee industry to the basketball thing, the Netflix series on Formula One, you said that it's a very nascent industry.
Yeah, it's like it's very much in its infancy.
Only just starting to pop off.
Yeah,
In terms of its historical,
yes,
existence.
Yes.
Coffee's been around for a really long time, but now 2025, 2020 and beyond.
the interest is just going berserker because there's so much more information for you now. There's like creators and things like that, and
Yeah.
oh hello, yeah. But and like this is one another thing that drives me. Like,
Yeah.
if you're the first in for something, then you're kind of rewarded. So, like, if I, do well with a coffee podcast sort of
Yeah.
thing, then you forever establish myself.
I'm invested in this now.
So that's why I'm working hard.
Yeah.
And, I think it's going well so far.
Oh, I would
So-
say it's going very well. You've got your own cafe. You're about to open a second. You've got a podcast. It's got sponsors. You're traveling around the world. You're being invited to. It's being paid for. I'd say you're really living the kind of life at the moment on face value of the perks that most people strive for, without appreciating all of the hard yards that you've put in to get here. You've made it.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear you say. But
You're making it.
on the way here, I was thinking to myself, I'm also like one bad week away from it all being like just collapsing.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, it's not like I'm super, like I was saying, I invest everything back in, which takes its own risk.
You're taking risks.
Yeah,
You're
and
taking
so like,
the necessary risks.
so if there was like another COVID lockdown, that
They won't
for the cafe, like that would completely break me.
they couldn't pull that off again. Man.
They couldn't. They couldn't. The government couldn't guarantee everyone.
Societies
Yeah.
they're too scarred from the last one.
Yeah, but
And
like,
they know the value of
but if something of that magnitude happened again, I'm totally screwed because I'm in debt, and the podcast might do well.
yeah.
But like, it just like a lot of people like, it looks like I'm doing great, and like I am. Like
Sure.
I've worked really hard for it, but like, I'm like one bad week could crush me.
Yeah.
Because it's the same with so many businesses and so many other people.
Yeah.
Like if something bad really happened, like, and that's one of the reason I say this is like, I'm always got to be like aware of that
Yeah.
and not get too complacent.
Yeah.
And just keep grinding away.
I've enjoyed listening to your story and, all the threads that we've gone on. And it's nice to hear someone talk about the importance of relationships. We don't talk about it enough, and it's so true. And I'm really, it's nice to hear you talk about, oh, I know I've met this person, I met that person. Oh, that cafe that bought the $30,000 coffee, I know people that are working there. I've had the world's best barista, I'm friends with them. It's like, what? Like, it sounds like that, you say you're 1 week away from from it all going pear-shaped. I doubt that. I honestly think that if adversity struck you would find a way because of the resilience that you've built from the things that you've already been through. You've already been through a pandemic, which never happened before. You've already been through, your personal circumstances with your mum. You've built the resilience. You've built the relationships. You're building the business. Mate, whenever that day happens, you're one phone call away from landing on your feet.
It's a good way. It's actually very comforting to hear you say that. Like, I sometimes think of myself as a cockroach that just won't die. Like, I just even through a nuclear storm, like I'll just like, because you have those moments where it's like, that are the theoretical nuclear storms, like. But just sometimes I appreciate you saying that because like, it's good to be on someone else's podcast actually than rather than host my own. Because obviously I get to tell that, which is kind of like a relief in a lot of ways. But it's you got a good thing going here, man. I reckon.
I appreciate it.
You know what I was thinking though?
Yeah.
Camera hanging off that thing up there,
Dude, I've been thinking that for ages.
Yeah. You need a camera hanging right up there.
No. I've been thinking this for ages.
I'll do it next time.
We should do a coffee sometime. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
You've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We've maxed out.
Yeah. Well, I'll bring a coffee setup and I'll brew one here next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about we do this again, like once you come back?
Yeah. No, man.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And
I
you
fucking
can
love
tell me
this.
all about the Copenhagen and Germany, Berlin thing. And I can sit here just enviously thinking, God, I need to start a coffee podcast. No, I would never do that because I know nothing about it.
Mate, you play your cards right. This will be bigger than mine for sure.
No way.
100%. Look at all the people that stopping and filming and
Bro,
thinking,
you
"Fuck
started
yeah."
a podcast 8 months ago, 6 months ago, and it's already killing.
Yeah, but it can only get so big because it's coffee. Yours is so much more big and broad.
But
than
you
that.
know how big the coffee industry is. That's enough to sustain someone into a very, very good lifestyle. And you play your cards right. Let's both play our cards right.
Yep.
I'm invested in that.
All right,
It's been good, man.
done deal.
It's been great to have you on. I've got to now go and take a toilet break.
Yeah, me too.
But this has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to clap it out. Did I clap it in before? I did.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to clap it out.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Kirk Pearson. It's been a pleasure.
No, been a pleasure. Thank you.
Woo! Yeah.
Oh.
How good's that?